Hey all, it's Jan of the Jan Files. Thank you for being here and following my channel. I'm going to talk today about the decision yesterday that came out of the U.S. Supreme Court regarding unveiling, mail-in voting. And when I initially heard it, I was on the phone with somebody. They were like, "Did you hear what happened?" And I was like, "Oh my God, this is really happening. They're really trying to stop the election from different, places." And I was horrified. Well, I've since educated myself more. And I have to thank Katie Fang for that because I watch her a lot, her YouTube channel a lot, and she really dug into it. So now I have a much better understanding of what happened yesterday. It was bad. It wasn't good, but it wasn't awful in terms of actually what has happened. It hasn't influenced mail-in voting one way or the other at this point. They ruled basically that on the injunction that there were two that were put in front of them, they only ruled on one. And the one they ruled on was regarding the blue states, was that they were saying, you're here too early. This is, you don't have standing yet because nothing has impacted you. Well, and one of the reasons, if my understanding is right, is that they said that is because they were still waiting for the USPS, the Postal Service, who seems to have all this fucking incredible power all of a sudden for an agency that's supposed to be going down the tubes. They were waiting for them to produce a document to say how this was all going to happen, how all the mail-in voting was going to happen in terms of getting people's voter roll information to the federal government, who then would get it to the post office. And so the court said, we don't know what that is. You're here too early. Well, now we know what it is. I gather they came out on Friday. But in the meantime, this ruling had been, I guess, decided and written or whatever. There is another injunction that against stopping mail-in voting, and it was done by another judge, and I want to say out of Rhode Island. Could be wrong. Sorry. Anyway, and she has already said that she is aware of the ruling by the ruling. Here we go. Whatever the post office release is going to add to her injunction. That should then probably end up back at the Supreme Court. And so this is still playing out, folks. This is not done at all in any stretch of the imagination. But what we should do is still be prepared. So here's some facts. 1 in 4 Democrats uses vote by mail. 1 in 5 are Republicans. So 1 in 5 Republicans vote by mail. So, there's a lot of Republicans in blue states who flip House seats, right? That represent Republicans. They're going to be impacted. And it's like a 29% of all Americans use vote by mail. So this is my suggestion. And I think we need to be really clear with people because some of the shit gets too confusing. So for example, my 2 daughters are going to get absentee ballots. I instead am going to tell them, because they've already, I think, sent away for them, to come home. They live pretty close. They go to school pretty close and vote in person. I always vote in person, with the exception probably of COVID. I vote in person. I vote early. That's what we all should be telling everybody to do. And if people need rides or whatever, get them to the actual polls. Let nothing stop people from voting. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to just make sure that we're talking to everybody we know and telling them to make sure they vote in person. Okay? That is really important. And, that is going to be our saving grace is if we get everybody to get up and sit in, stand in line, not sit in line, but whatever, stand in line, get there early, try to get there before actual election day so that you're not caught in these stupid, in these southern Republican states in 8-hour lines. It's obscene. And whatever. That's what we're dealing with. And we should just think that the worst is going to happen and plan. Okay? Let's just plan that voting by mail is not going to happen. Obviously, there are states that, whether it's, I think, Oregon, Washington, of course, California. It's not that you can't vote in person, but most people, they send out a ballot to everybody in California, and most vote by, mail-in ballot. So, folks, we are in the 911 situation right now. This is an emergency. Do not for a second think that they're not going to try every goddamn thing they can to prevent us from voting. This is not a joke. It's so fucked up that we're here, but we have to make sure everybody understands what their job is come November 3rd. And so that's my take. SCOTUS has to, I just can't anymore. It's like the most corrupt Supreme Court I've known in my lifetime. And that's pretty long, but whatever. The issue is we cannot allow this. We have to stand and fight back non-violently with everything we have. Take care. Stay tuned.